a lot of organizations just don't think they're important enough to be attacked. We don't have a lot of money. We're not a big company. We're not in the news. We don't make ultra top secret stuff. And of course, there are bad guys that conduct targeted attacks. But in a lot of cases, bad guys are just, they're throwing a wide net. They're running scripts on the internet to look for vulnerable systems. They're using AI to draft, phishing emails to try and get users to click on stuff. And so very rarely is it a bad guy selects a company or a person and just goes after that very focused attack. It's usually much broader and more statistical, if you will. So a lot of organizations are just playing the odds, but also I think wearing that veil of I don't want to call it ignorance, but it kind of is. They're just they're not truly aware of how bad guys operate, and they just don't think that they're going to get hit.
Maybe more ignorance is bliss then, might be a nicer way of saying that. And Ben, it sounded like you were about to jump in there.
Yeah, I was going to say that a lot of these groups will have given vulnerabilities which they're scanning for and looking for. And so some groups are sophisticated enough that they will look for vulnerabilities or 0 days within given pieces of software, which they know a lot of companies use, whether that's a CRM tool or a file repository tool or anything like that, where they know a lot of large businesses will be using that software. They'll then look for vulnerabilities and then just scan the internet or use some of the wider scanning tools which are available look for people that are running that software and then target them. So at that point, they don't really know what company you are, how much revenue you have, how many employees you have. All they know is that you have a vulnerability here and that they can exploit it. And then they will then use that to go after the companies. And then later on, they will look at, well, which ones do we want to focus on and which ones will we go for first? And they may do a level of recon on those companies in terms of ransomware, but you can still end up with disruption in your system given these vulnerabilities, whether or not they consider you to be a particularly valuable target or not.